Hey guys, welcome to Simpsonstorys. This is my first video, and this is mostly about me. That's my dad. He served in World War II. He was born about 1922, and he lived up to about 1992. That's me in the crib, and there I am with my brother. We were always very close as children. That's my mother and my Aunt Jenny, who had a big impact on me a little later. And that's me and my brother again. We were always very close as children, even though there are times when I nearly killed the little bugger. And there we are, and I guess you might say the Saturday best. That's me hanging around the fire engine, me with Mom at the beach. And there's our grandparents, Charles and Dora Hollander. Me with fish, me after a lot of fights as a kid. My parents got into a lot of anger and fights with each other, and they eventually divorced. Mark went with Mom, and I went with Dad. And that's us on vacation. There's me with my first piece of artillery. Dad's looking over at Mark, and me as a young guy. And then there's me starting to put on some weight as my parents got divorced. I ballooned out to almost 650 pounds by the time I was 17. Me again as a child. And me in the Scouts. Did a lot in the Scouts, actually. Went to jamborees, camped out. My brother was in it also. That's my mother. And that's my first girlfriend above my mother's photo. Her name was Marie. Me at 6th grade. That's me in the Army shirt, obviously. And I know every person that's in that photo, essentially. That was the last time I set foot in a public school before going back and attending university. That is my first girlfriend, Marie. Sort of a photo of me. There she is. Her name was Marie Susan Kidder. She was born about December 12th or 16th, 1965, I think, up in Framingham, Massachusetts. We met down in Florida. And I remember telling God, if you give me this girl, I'll never bother you again for anything. And he hasn't taken a call since, to be frank. He gave her to me, and damned if we didn't split up a year later, but she split up when she was pregnant. She went home to her mother's house to have the baby, never came back. I later heard from her brother that her brother was Bobby Kidder. Bobby said that she put the child up for adoption. So somewhere out there I've got a kid, God knows where. And since they never listed me on the birth certificate, I'll never see the kid. But that's the way it goes, unless some kind of DNA magic happens. But she was a very interesting person. Her attitude was, you're born, you live, you die. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. And she looked at pretty much everything through those windows, and I tried to show her different windows. She wasn't having it. That's my stepdad. He was a wonderful guy, Ken Fogel. He married my mother back in the early 80s. That's my uncle with him, and my Aunt May. And that's Aunt Jenny here at the end of the video. And I owe her everything. She's the one that made me a man. Okay, see you in the next one. Don't forget to